So you guys, I'm so exhausted. I just got off of the Champs service bus, whatever. Went all the way from Suriname to Georgetown. It was like it took 10 to 12 hours to actually get here. Just so you guys know, if you go, definitely prepare for that. The ferry itself you have to pay for separately, and that's 15 euros or 15 USD. The bus ride over here was just so uncomfortable, you guys. I can't even tell you. It was like a bench seat that they have you sit on, and it has like no cushion at all. You're like crammed, packed with other people, and it's just really, really uncomfortable. It's a really, really affordable service. It's like $50 for like a 12-hour ride, and it takes you across the border, which is great. I do have to let you guys know, though, when I got to the border, they wanted COVID-19 vaccination, they wanted yellow fever vaccination, all my information, passport, all of that. They almost didn't let me through the border because I didn't have the paper version of a yellow fever vaccination card. They still let me through, but the lady like threatened me, and she was like, "Oh, I'm going to send you back to Suriname," and it was just yucky. So just heads up on that, you guys. If you're coming over. First impressions of Georgetown. I think Georgetown is actually nicer than Paramaribo. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it. I don't care. I think British Guyana is way nicer than Suriname is. The buildings here are a lot nicer. There's waterways across the highways, and I know a lot of people don't like those because they think that there's sewage in them, or I've heard people say that there is. I don't know if that's true or not. So, yeah, if you guys make the trip, just know it's a really long trip. I made friends with a girl on the bus. She was really nice, but some of the people in Guyana, like this girl, she was from Guyana, but her husband lives in Suriname, so she goes back and forth all the time to go visit her parents in Guyana, and then she goes back, where she lives in Suriname. But I was talking to her, and she wanted me to fill out her paperwork, like her immigration paperwork. I don't even know why they had her fill that out because she's a Guyana citizen, but whatever. She had to fill out the paperwork for the immigration to go through customs, and she didn't know how to write. She didn't know how to write and read. So I helped her fill out her paperwork, and I did it for both of her kids too. But it was just really, I don't know, it was a weird feeling because I went to go put her birthday down, and you guys, she was a year older than me. She was born in 96, and her daughter was 7 or 8 years old. And I don't know. I don't know why it shocked me, but I guess I just always think I'm too young to have kids, even though I'm not actually. But to see this woman with 2 kids and going through this horrific 10-hour trip with 2 kids, I was just oh my gosh, I can't imagine how hard that would be. She was so tired by the end of the trip. I felt so bad for her. Her kids were just misbehaving. I don't know. I just felt so bad, and I just thought, man, what a hard life to have to I don't know, just go back and forth with 2 kids like that. It just seemed horrible. I don't know. And then she didn't know how to read or write, which was just I don't know. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter, but it's just, it always shocks me to see people who are illiterate still today. It makes me sad. But I know that I know that there's people everywhere who don't know how to read and write. I've heard that there's still people in the United States that don't know how to read and write. So, there's people everywhere who are illiterate. But after I started filling out her form, then another lady saw me filling out her form for her, and then she asked me to fill out her form for her too. And I asked her, I'm well, when you've come in the past, how do you get this filled out? And she's well, when I go up to the immigration officer, I ask them to help me because I don't know how to fill it out. I don't know. It just shocked me. And I just thought, my God, how difficult to not know how to read and write, have 2 kids, and having to do this crazy trip. I couldn't even imagine that. The other thing that, it doesn't shock me about Guyana. I actually think Georgetown is pretty nice, you guys. A lot of my friends, everybody who I've talked to who's been here says that they hate it. They don't like Georgetown. They think Georgetown's awful, but I actually think it's kind of nice. The buildings are kind of nice here. But also in 2020, they hit one of the largest oil reserves, or Exxon found one of the largest oil reserves in the entire world, if not the largest. I think it is the largest one here in Guyana. But the problem is they don't have an oil refinery here. So they have the oil, but they have to ship out the oil basically to like Houston or another oil refinery outside of Guyana, and then they ship the oil back. So it doesn't do anything, you know, it doesn't make the country rich because you have to be able to refine the natural minerals that you have in order to sell them. So I don't know. I mean, it doesn't do anything. And I mean, that's one of the things that makes a country third world, is not being able to take the natural resources and the natural minerals that they have and make money off of them. But I look around and I'm like, well, I get it. I mean, I get it because there's people here who, again, like the girl on the bus, she can't read and write. So, you know, how are you going to take somebody and put them in a position where they can build an oil refinery? Like, you know, the first oil refinery that went mainstream or monopolized was like John D. Rockefeller, right? So it's like, how do you take that and then put it into a place like this? And it's just, it would be like almost impossible. You would need an outside source, or, you know, an outside company or an outside country to come in and rebuild. And the British were doing that for a long time, but after World War II, Britain took a really big hit, and that's when they left Guyana. They've been a separate country for a long time now, their own country for a long time now, but they're just not. But yeah, I mean, it's been 2 years since 2020, and given it could be COVID, you know, that could be a reason why they haven't been able to, you know, help themselves. But I don't know. It's just it's so weird. It's so weird to be in a place like this because they are so rich, but they're not, because they can't put it together and make it work. And it's so sad because there's so much potential here, but it goes nowhere, you know. I cannot wait to get out of this area, you guys. I can't even walk around because I just feel so uncomfortable. The men are just being absolutely grotesque to the point where I feel so uncomfortable. I don't want to go outside.